everyone, it's Adam Helfman. Welcome to the podcast. Today we're going to talk about a few business items for Hire It Done. So if you're a homeowner and you want to know what the proper way to pay for a job is, we're going to use a bathroom remodeling project as an example. Also, we're going to talk about change orders, why they're important, and what are the rules you should have on a change order, or what is the policy you and your builder should agree to when doing a project and you know there's always going to be change orders. So on today's podcast, we're going to be talking about bathroom remodeling and how much money you should be paying along the way. So we're going to use a $20,000 bathroom remodel. It's a 3-piece bath, a tub, a shower, toilet, and vanity, gutting it to the studs, and then putting back new tile, new tub, new vanity, new toilet, new plumbing fixtures, and that's what we're going to use, and it's a $20,000 job. So that's about a medium-sized bathroom. The prices vary all around the country, and in fact, if you want to use the cost versus value report, which is produced by Remodeling Magazine, costversusvalue.com, you can see in your region by your zip code how much a bathroom should cost today. But let's talk about the actual payment schedule. So you get a bathroom, you find a contractor you like, and it's $20,000. So the contractor meets with you a few times, he scratches out a beautiful design, and you're ready to say yes. Price comes to $20,000. Now it's time to pay. There are contractors out there who say, I need $10,000 down. No. I'm not telling you to give half. So what is the right amount? So let me explain to you how this should work. First of all, let's establish something. Your contractor is your contractor. His job is to build your project with your money. Remember that. The contractor is not the bank. So if you expect him to finance your job, you're going to have a conversation with him, and you're going to end up paying more if that's the case. So let's assume that it's your money, which is the golden rule because you're in charge with your money, and the contractor is building the job with your money. So with that being said, let's talk about the first payment. When you agree to sign the contract for $20,000 on a bathroom remodeling job, the first payment should be 10%. That's it. A 10% deposit on the project. That means you sign the job tonight, you're giving them $2,000 on a $20,000 project. Now, by law, you have 3 days to back out of the job. 3 business days. So if you sign that contract on Friday, you have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Don't forget that, friends. So remember that. Contractor takes the money, he holds it for 3 days, deposits it, and then the job is ready to go. Now, what's the next step? The next step that I recommend for the payment schedule, which is payment number 2, is for permits approval. So the contractor pulls a permit, and once the permit is picked up and paid for, he then comes to the job and has to post the permit. When that happens, you should have the next payment ready for the contractor. And again, my advice to you, the homeowner, is to pay another 10% deposit. So that's $2,000 more. So now on a $20,000 job, bathroom remodel, you've paid a deposit of $2,000, and then your second payment was upon permits approved, another $2,000. So that's $4,000 that you've paid on a $20,000 job. Now, that leaves $16,000 left, correct? What happens? You've done no work. He's gotten the permit. He's assembled all the teams. He's gotten the work done and getting ready to order everything, and you've given him a $4,000 total. Okay, so now the next payment. Here's where the homeowners need to step it up. And by the way, it's okay to ask the contractor, I need you to write out the payment schedule so you can tell the contractor, I want to make sure I have the money ready for you as the job progresses. So the next payment due to the contractor is upon demolition. But here's the secret sauce for the homeowners. It should be upon demolition complete. So here's what you do. You tell the homeowner, I'll pay you the next check on the completion of demolition, which means he's had a crew there. They've ripped the tile out. They ripped the old tub out. They took the vanity out. The whole job is to the studs, and they've put it in the dumpster. That's demolition complete. Now, some contractors may say to you, I need my next check on the start of demolition. So you leave a check in the morning. They start the job, but they grab the check. What if they don't finish? What if they grab the check and don't come back? This is your psychological and short amount of insurance that you give the check when the demolition is complete. That's the difference. That's a little bit of an advantage for you, the homeowner. Most contractors will oblige and fall in place for that. Now, $2,000 upon demolition complete. So let's do some math. Deposit of 10%. Permits approved 10%. Demolition complete 10%. What does that equal? 30%. So on $20,000 of a job, 30% of that is $6,000. You have paid the contractor $6,000. You owe him 14 more, and all you've had is demolition. Does that seem right? Well, remember, you're spreading out the payments. That's important, and this is okay. And this is a contractor should look at this and say, this is good, because you're paying him as he moves along. Now, remember, if he gets the permits and demos in the same day, that's $4,000 right there. Boom. Now, let's go to the next payment, okay? What I tell you, and I tell homeowners, is the next payment should be rough plumbing, rough electrical, and rough HVAC approved. Remember, approved. That's a green sticker, okay? Rough plumbing, you got the plumber coming in and doing the rough for the new shower and tub, the toilet and the vanity. Maybe you're moving it a little bit, so there's new plumbing. Then you got the heating and cooling. Maybe there's a toe kick heating and cooling. Maybe there's an exhaust fan, but that's the heating and cooling. Maybe there's not, so you may not even need a permit. And then there's electrical. Are you putting in a new circuit, GFI? Are you putting in a heated floor? Are you putting in a heated towel warmer? Those are electrical items. So the electrical needs to be approved as well. So you've got 3 trades: plumbing, electrical, and heating, cooling, all pulling permits, all needing to get approved. Once those are approved, your next payment should be $4,000. That's 20% of that job. Okay. So now you've had a $20,000 job. You've paid $2,000 for the deposit. You've paid $2,000 for permits. You've paid $2,000 for completion of demolition. And now you're going to give $4,000 upon approval of electrical, heating, cooling, and plumbing. So how much money is that? You have now paid $10,000 of a $20,000 bathroom. So you're at 50%. But you're also at the approval of all the rough mechanicals. That's important. Okay? So what's happening is the money's getting doled out. The contractor's getting paid timely. And it becomes a win-win. I've been doing this for 3 decades, my friends, and I promise you, this is the most easiest way for a homeowner and a contractor to have the finances smoothed out over the project. Now let's go to the next payment. Once you've paid $10,000, you're halfway there. So the next payment I tell people would be insulation, drywall, and start of tile being next, okay? So those are the items that you are now doing after rough completion. When are you having to pay next? I tell people when tile is complete, okay? So if the tile is complete, that means the insulation's been installed. That means the drywall's been installed. And that means he's put the tile up. Now, here's a little gray area. Tile complete could mean before grout, okay? Because grout's one of the last things you do. But tile complete to me is the tiles on the walls and on the floor, okay? That next payment, my friends, is $4,000, okay? So, again, you've paid $10,000 so far, and now you've added 4 for tile complete. Now you're at $14,000 of a $20,000 remodeling job. That's only $6,000 left, but you already put tile complete. So far, so good. Now, that leaves you a balance of $4,000. And what is the last payment? So you could break that $4,000 up into a couple payments, or you can say, I'm going to use it for the last payment. Now, this is the key, and this is crucial for everybody and contractors, okay? Here is a word that I believe came out of the Hire It Done empire. It's not punch list. It's not completion. Here it is, my friends. And you can use this. And if you're a contractor listening, I want you to use it as well. The last payment should be due upon, you ready? usable completion. And we're going to talk about what that means. But usable completion means you're paying the last $4,000, which equals $20,000. Here's what I'm saying. You do the job. You can use the bathroom. The shower works. Hot water works. The toilet flushes. The vanity has hot and cold water. However, possibly there's a knob that broke. A warped door. There's something that hasn't been completed. However, you can use your bathroom. It's called usable completion. That's the modern word for better than a punch list. And that by that time, you and your contractor can work out whatever it is. If it's a knob and the knob's $50, hold 10 times the amount. Hold $500. That's okay. Or negotiate with the contractor. Say, Mr. Contractor, you've done a great job. We've paid. I've paid. I got to hold money back because Adam says so. Blame me. It's okay. Hold some money back. And then when the knob comes in, use it. That, my friends, is the best payment schedule for a successful renovation job. If you ever need help with that, email me, visit hireitdone.com. I will help you personally. So now we're going to talk about the dreaded change order. Change orders are a necessary evil, okay? And what does it mean to have a change order? Well, a change order is something where either the homeowner requests a change in the scope of work or some latent defect or something's found out during the project where it causes a change. Now, what does a change order impact? Well, let me say this. Number one, the change order impacts the price. Even if there's nothing going on, it still costs money. Number two, change orders impact the rhythm of the work. If you have a schedule and then all of a sudden you have to stop for a change order, it doesn't matter what you do. The work and the dates and the completion schedule changes. Promise you, folks. Even if it's a small administrative change order. So this is important. Change orders are important, and it's also very crucial that you and the homeowner and you and your contractor, both of you, during the project, agree up front. What does it mean to have a change order? How does it affect the schedule? And what is the policy? When I was a contractor for 30 years, I had a change order policy, and I had my homeowners initial that they agreed that this is what happens when they have a change order. And it was all stated completion dates are null and void. That's one of the aspects of a change order. So let's talk about what a change order could be, okay? We're going to use that $20,000 bathroom remodeling. You get the job ready. You have demo day. They demolition the bathroom. And guess what? Around the toilet area, over the years, there was a leak. There's rotted wood around the base of the toilet. The joists were rotted. So any good contractor is going to stop the job. He's going to document, take pictures. He's going to send them to you at work and say the following. Mrs. Homeowner, we're having a great demo day. However, we discovered after we demoed the floor, you had rotted plywood by the toilet drain. You had some joists that are rotted, and we can't consciously frame back without repairing it. So what we're going to do is that we're going to price out new plywood, and we're going to sister the two floor joists and reframe the floor so that it's safe and you're ready to move forward. The cost of that is $600 for the material and $400 for labor. $1,000. Now, the benefit of this is it should be done before the work is done. Because if he does it after and at the end of the job hands you this, that becomes animosity, anxiety, and could cause a problem later on. So a good contractor always tells you the change order ahead of time. A great contractor always tells you that the change order ahead of time and provides a solution. Okay. That's what you want, a great contractor. He will say, this is what we found, but here's how we're solving it. Presenting it to you with okay, I get it. Now, if you're on a tight budget, that's a problem. But you also need to know that nobody has x-ray vision and nobody knows what to do. But an experienced contractor is going to solve the problem for you. That's why Hire It Done contractors are solution-minded. That's what I look for, and that's how I want you to have hassle-free home improvement. So this is advanced hire it done advice. Okay? So now that we have the change order, we understand how that happens. Now, that's a change order called a latent defect. Now, let's move forward. You're out shopping for tile. And for whatever reason, you have a $5 or $6 a month, $5 or $6 a square foot allowance for your tile. You go to the tile store and you see this beautiful marble tile that used to be $30 a foot, and it's on sale for $10. And you're like, oh my God, $10 a foot. The builder gave us $4 a square foot allowance, but that's $6 difference. You have 100 square feet, to make math easy. You got $6 that you owe per foot at 100 square feet. That's $600 more. You tell the builder, hey, I went with marble. I owe you $6 more a foot. I'll pay the difference, and that's a change order. But wait, there's more. The contractor, his tile installer does ceramic tile at X amount of foot. Some tile installers charge more for marble and granite. Bigger tile, bigger cuts, more design, more labor. So a good contractor will say, Mrs. Jones, thank you for letting me know this. This is great news. It's going to look beautiful. However, it's $1 more for install per square foot because it's marble. Oh, so then you have to add that in as well. At that point, you've negotiated, you've got it, and you must sign the change order. Those are the acceptable pathways I recommend for change order policies. Now, this happens all too often, even with great contractors. The job's moving along, everyone's excited, something comes up, and guess what? The contractor does extra work, forgets to tell you about it. It costs extra money, and then he sends you a bill for the extra work, and you didn't even know about it. That's unsettling. That creates animosity. Sometimes it's necessary. I'm not condoning it. So the key to this conversation is to make sure and make certain that you tell your contractor, all change orders must be approved by me, otherwise I'm not paying it. That's a harsh conversation, but you got to have it. Now, there are times when you're like, oh, I get it. But there are times when you can't. Sometimes an inspector will come to the job and say, hey, yeah, this bathroom looks great. However, I want you to upgrade your electrical panel. I want hardwire smoke detectors in the whole house. Well, on the contract, you never paid for hardwire smoke detectors in the whole house. So, of course, it's a change order from the contractor. But the key to this whole conversation, my friends, is the nucleus of home improvement. And what do you think that is? Communication. That's right. The nucleus of all home improvement success is communication. Because if you're communicating with your contractor on a daily basis, these problems get softened, the anxiety goes down, and the satisfaction level goes through the roof. That's my advice for today. I want to thank you for tuning into the podcast. For more information and to find the very best contractors, just visit hireitdone.com.